Well, good morning, Britain, from America, because we are here in Washington, D.C., America's capital city, for what has become the tightest race in U.S. election history. Will Donald Trump complete his remarkable return to the White House, or will his rival, Kamala Harris, cling onto power for the Democratic Party? There is anticipation of clashes, potentially violence. The National Guard has been put on standby, and authorities have even deployed snipers and surveillance drones to polling and counting centres. There is a feeling, isn't there, of tension around this result.
That's right.
Shops and businesses here in Washington, D.C. we saw as we drove in from the airport.
Boarded up.
Absolutely extraordinary to see, braced for protests when the exit polls begin to come in overnight.
And the result matters not just here in America, but in the UK and around the world. Here in Britain, relations between Donald Trump and the Labour Party are already frosty, and a win for their former president could mean a rise in tariffs that could damage trade with the UK, but also a shift away from support for Ukraine in its war with Russia.
Yeah, it really is on a knife edge, this election. It felt at one stage like perhaps Trump was surging ahead. He kind of banked all his votes. But more recently, there seems to have been a boost for Kamala Harris. And America is clearly deeply divided. It's a country where 240 million people are eligible to vote. But the result's going to be decided in just a handful of these swing states.
Potentially just a few thousand votes could make the difference.
It's extraordinary. More than 81 million Americans have already cast their vote.
We will.
In a moment, we're going to speak to our chief correspondent, Richard Gaisford, who is in Florida. Amount of optimism. Whether that's a sign of the result, we simply don't know yet. Donald Trump, meanwhile, has crisscrossed the country to drum up support. His key message is all about immigration and the border and the economy and inflation.
And our chief correspondent, Richard Gaisford, is...
Indeed, and to Noel Phillips as well. Ed, you have watched elections and been involved in general elections for many, many years. What sense are you getting being here on the ground in Washington, D.C.?
I think the thing is that you can tell in the final hours from the demeanour of the candidates what's actually going on the inside within their campaign. This election is on a knife edge, but compared to a week ago, Kamala Harris clearly feels buoyed up. They've got to get the vote out. They're optimistic. They think they're in the fight. Whereas Donald Trump looks tireder. He's talking about the election being taken from him, electoral fraud. It's like he's preparing the ground. I don't think that says that Harris is going to win and Trump is going to lose. But compared to a few days ago, this is on a knife edge. And Harris clearly thinks she's in with the fight if they can get the vote out tomorrow. That's what she's trying to do. All those celebrities motivate, come out and vote. Trump says, I know, but is it all being fixed?
And the sound of emergency vehicles in the background, is that a portent of what's to come? We will be back with you in about 15 minutes for the news panel. Now back to you, Kate.